Welcome to Scream Queen's Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast. Hey, final girl Justine.
Oh, hey there, soul survivor Mr. Josh. What are you doing next to me?
Well, I am driving our sound booth down Interstate 40 in Oklahoma. We just hit mile marker 210. We are heading to Peoria, Oklahoma, to investigate a local...
Who are you peeing on?
Urban legend. Peoria?
Peonia?
Yeah. There was just peeing.
Peorian everywhere.
But
yeah.
It's actually, we're kind of straddling the Missouri-Oklahoma border today.
Straddling?
I'm going to straddle it.
Because you're peeing on...
Peorian straddling. Okay, we're really pushing
Goodness. Okay, Peoria, because we're covering an urban legend.
Yeah, we're covering the movie Urban Legend. So we're going to one of the most well-known here in Oklahoma called the Spook Light.
Yes.
And we kind of talked to you about this at the end of last episode. It's one of those things that a lot of other states have. I've heard of one in North Carolina. There's also like the Marfa lights down in Texas. That's probably like the most famous.
There's those lights at your mom's house.
My mom has those lights at her house. It's usually a red light, if you know what I mean.
It's over her window.
How dare you, Barbara?
Show up and you're just like, hey, Babs. She's
after everything that Barbara has done for you, Justine.
Oh, I fucking love Barbara, but
it's
the red light district at her house, and it's no UL. It's no urban legend, guys.
If you guys knew my wonderful mother, you would know this is all.
Barbara's a saint.
Tomfoolery. Yeah, she's a fucking saint.
She is. She's a walking saint. Okay.
Anyways, yes, we're gonna go try to see these spook lights and tell them about some of the lore behind it, Justine. When we were researching, there's all these different reasons as to why this could be happening, and apparently people have been seeing these lights for over 100 years.
Oh yeah.
Going back into the 1800s, before there were automobiles, because a lot of them one of the explanations was, people are seeing reflections from the highway, but again, we were saying people were reporting these lights even before there were highways.
Oh yeah, and even if there were cars, there weren't. Where we are going is so rural of an area. It's isolated.
We were looking at the map. It's one of those weird roads where it's going to be kind of creepy. We're having to go at night. Right now, it's not night. We're going in the day, but it's like these weird little off-country roads we're going to
It's so creepy that we're having to do coordinates to get to it. You know, it's like we're even off the, regular just address kind of map. You know, it's not like 1400, Glory Lane or anything.
West Spook Light Road.
Yeah, it's like north latitude, longitude, cardinal directions with little dots and numbers.
It's a lot of like, when you see this thing, turn right and go 14 miles and take a left. And then when you see this other thing, it's a lot of like looking for markers. And so it's going to be a journey tonight, but we're ready for it.
Yeah.
And we're ready to like get creeped out and have fun tonight. And along the way, we're going to talk to you about 1998. I almost said classic, but I'm like, that might be a stretch. But it's a classic among those like 90s horror slasher revival, post-Scream.
Yeah, well, let me tell them the things behind the spook lights first before you get into it. You had asked me to tell them.
I asked her to do something and then I cut her off.
Okay, so they credit the flickering orbs at night with some gas and mineral deposits that are refracted from high beam lights. So when you're driving, you see it, it's refracted. Okay, so that's already been duped because there were people claiming they'd seen this before cars, so before high beams. And then it gets into some more local legends of like star-crossed lovers who leapt to their deaths. There's one about a Civil War soldier who was struck in the head by a cannonball. And then there's even another one about a local miner who tragically lost his head in a mining accident. And it's interesting. There's just a lot of different little stories, maybe from the area or maybe just that game of telephone that goes for decades that, kind of takes the lore that another place had and brings it to the local area, and the local area being Peoria for us. So
yeah. And it's kind of like out of the town. So Peoria is just kind of like the closest town marker for this place. It's down like some weird country highway or country road 50, and it's like gravel road. I think we're going to.
It's gonna be really
fun.
scary and isolated, and I'm just glad that we brought each other along for the ride. Like, it kind of reminds me of, it's one of our very first episodes, maybe like second episode. We go to Locust Grove, and we had that same like coordinates, like to find
when we were going
the
to
campsite,
Camp
and
Scott.
so it's like kind of giving me vibes like that. So you guys check that one out. That was Sleepaway Camp. Okay. But yeah, let's get into urban legend. It is kind of more in the realm of 90s slashers. It's one of the better ones, and a lot of people say that it borrows quite a bit from Scream.
Well, they all did at that time.
Yeah,
period.
and that's,
everything.
I was just about to say, and that's just kind of like what movies after Scream did, was just borrowed from what they had seen work. So it's not unheard of, and I don't even think that's a diss. Like, I love Scream, so seeing what other movies can take from that, and I think one of those, not criticism, but just like things that people were pointing out, is urban legend is kind of meta, like Scream is. It's very self-aware, and it sometimes will make a little bit of fun of itself.
Right.
There's little in-jokes that points out in the movie, so I like that about the movie, and it's very well written. R.I.P. to Silvia Horta, who wrote it, but tragically died like over 10 years ago. And it's Jamie Blank's like debut feature. He's Australian, so
went on to direct Valentine, the other classic slasher.
yeah, that one was that like 2001
I think
or
it was
something.
2000, maybe. Yeah,
So-
2001. It's a little like towards the end where you're like, okay, I think we're done with this particular trope or genre of horror film. Like these really self-aware slashers.
Yeah, I hear you.
Mm-hmm,
Let's talk about the star-studded cast of teen-ish. Not really
It
teens.
is
They're all in there.
Studded with stars. Let's get into it there. You have your Letos, your Jared Letos.
Oh no, I've got my zaddy Jared Leto.
That's Justine's
Golly,
husband.
that's my one. That's my rock. That's my forever. That's my ride or die. That's my baby's daddy.
That's who she
but
lives for, who
Yep,
she wakes up for every morning.
heart eyes, heart hand emoji for you always and forever. Amen. And then we have Alicia Witt.
Who we love.
She's adorable. She's precious. She's a sweet baby angel.
We know out there people hate Julie. Is that, or no,
Her
Natalie.
name's Natalie, yeah.
I'm thinking, well, people hate
yeah,
Julie
from
too,
I Know
from
What
I
You
Know
Did
What You Did
Last
Last
Summer.
Summer. But yeah.
They're kind of, yeah.
I know there's a lot of Natalie haters out there.
For being maybe a final girl. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to completely spoil them, but if you're listening to this, you better have watched it.
You have your Tara Reid about a year before American Pie and probably a year after The Big Lebowski. That she's
Rebecca Gayheart, who...
This would have been after Scream 2.
Yes, right
and
afterwards. And then
after
she,
Noxzema.
Yes, she is the Noxzema girl.
Joshua Jackson, and this would have been after Scream 2, and Dawson's Creek would have been on for a little bit already.
Yeah, because they do make kind of a joke.
Well, they talk about how they filmed this in the summer. Dawson's Creek would have started like in the early spring, late winter, and that the movie
After
came
the-
out in September. Like, that's
Yeah.
how fast they were shooting it, getting it
13
edited.
weeks is what it took to
Yeah.
make the movie, so...
Insane. They wanted to capitalize on that Scream money.
That's Scream money.
That's Scream
That's
success.
Scream money. That's Scream money. Yeah, that's Scream money.
Yeah, you get that Scream money, girl.
But we also have Michael Rosenbaum, who he ended up being like on Smallville, on like the CW.
Was he like the
was
Lex Luthor? Yeah.
And he had like another movie with like Barry Watson. They dressed up as sorority chicks or something.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
I'm just kind of not as familiar with his work, if he's had other work.
I think he does a lot of voiceover work these days.
Yes, I know he does it for like Batman and stuff, like for some DC Comics things. But also, we have some sprinkled in horror, like, biggies.
Yeah,
we get Robert Englund,
Brad Dourif,
Danielle Harris.
That's right.
Your mom again.
She's just everywhere.
She keeps showing up over and over and over.
She's a horror icon.
I bring up Josh's mom quite a bit in all of these podcasts because I
think this is the first time, actually, but okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Okay.
Loretta Devine.
Yes, Loretta Devine. And then we have Natasha Gregson Wagner, who
Daughter
is, her mom's Natalie Wood and dad is Robert Wagner.
Yep.
Which we know Natalie Wood kind of disappeared under some crazy circumstances and drowned.
She was
and,
murdered by Robert Wagner. And Christopher Walken.
Allegedly, there are some things out there. We're not
Something
really
happened
saying
that night, and they know what fucking happened.
They know what happened!
Anyways, we digress.
Yeah,
Where's the great, show about that on Netflix?
When's that going to happen? When's that going to get, a 12-episode series, Netflix? Okay, so let's dive into Urban Legends 1998. Let's do it.
Let's dive.
Opening is Dark Rainy Night. We've got Natasha
Gregson Wagner. She's driving away from campus.
Her character is Michelle Mancini, which is a kind of a nod to Don Mancini, the Child's Play writer, creator, all that. So there's just so many little nods. And
then Brad Dourif, who was in Child's Play. So
she's driving her SUV and listening to some campus radio talk. And then and the campus radio talk ties everybody together. It's got one of the characters who plays kind of like the DJ.
Yeah, Tara Reid's the DJ. What's her name? Sasha.
Sasha.
I'm Sasha.
Hi, I'm Sasha. I'm Sasha. And her little radio show that she has is talking about some little taboo, college things. Somebody calls in and talks about how they replace their roommates' birth control with aspirin, which I'm immediately thinking that doesn't happen. And that can't happen. Once you push the pill out of the packet, how do you seal it back up, bitch? how do you do what you claim to do? I don't know.
Maybe her parents work for a factory that can reclose things.
They're factory recloser people. that could totally happen. Well, she's kind of not feeling, or maybe she just gets sick of that radio show, and she turns on
Bonnie Tyler.
She pushes that little tape cassette in because it's 1998 and that happened.
Yeah, she's like, this song's already a decade old, but I got the tape.
She's blasting Total Eclipse of the Heart, not paying attention to her surroundings.
And of course there's the irony in the song, or would it be irony because it's saying turn around, and if she only knew there was someone in the back seat.
And so she's driving, it's raining, she doesn't really notice that she's running low on gas. We see her drive past gas stations in a more and then finally her little gas light comes on and she pulls up to this kind of rundown shack of a gas station, and that's where we find the Brad Dourif playing the attendant, which never happens anymore. You don't have a gas station attendant.
Even in the 90s,
come out
there weren't gas station attendants anywhere.
I was a kid in the late 90s, and my mom was pumping the gas. She wasn't honking her horn.
Gas attendant out in the middle of nowhere.
So strange. And
this is New England, though.
You're right.
They're a little highfalutin up in New England.
They're hoity-toity.
A little arrogant, nose in the air.
I'm
just kidding.
So Brad Dourif plays the gas station attendant, and he comes up, and it's raining, and he's putting the gas in the tank, but he's looking in the back seat of her SUV several times. He keeps looking, and he's looking at her, and looking at whatever, and looking at her again. He goes inside because she hands him a credit card, and he runs back out, and he's like, no. Well, also he has a stutter, which is
kind of an homage to his One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Because Brad Dourif is an Oscar-nominated actor. People, don't you fucking forget it.
This transformative actor who can be a psychopathic killer and then also be kind of a psychopathic killer in Lord of the Rings
or
in a different
suicidal boy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, so he's amazing. And now he has a stutter, and he's telling her, you have to come inside. The credit card company wants to talk to you on the phone. She's like,
like, why?
Oh my
Hi.
God. Like, where's my pepper spray? You're like
I'm
weird.
Natasha Gregson Wagner.
You
Bye.
have a stutter and it's like freaking me out. I can't. That's kind of like what I thought about why she was like, she makes some comments. She's like, freak show. I'm like, that's so mean, girl. You
are rude.
You are rude and mean and judging
He's
him.
fucking pumping your gas in the rain.
In the rain. He has
Guy
a
has
stutter.
a stutter.
And
Like, cut him some fucking slack.
bitch.
So rude.
So she...
Ugh.
And so before she gets out of her car, she's like, I'm taking my pepper spray because this guy's just up to no good.
I'm judgy.
I am reading the book by the cover. Here I am. Judgmental Judy. I'm sorry, my name is Michelle.
Judgmental Judy.
Okay, so Michelle goes inside and the gas station attendant locks the door behind her. And
She's
then
like,
she
what the fuck?
realizes there's nobody on the phone.
Yeah, she picks up the phone. She's like, hello. And you get this like dun 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 moment. It's really fun.
But of course he stutters and he can't get out before she starts to think
Pepper
he's going to
spraying him
attack
and
her. And he, pepper sprays her. It's,
breaking windows.
yeah, she throws like a rock or something and just breaks the window and crawls through it.
It's like, ah!
Not very elegantly. Like, she doesn't like have any balance about it. She tumbles out of it and I'm like, girl, you getting all cut up, your hands, your thigh getting all cut up.
That's why she straight up makes noises like, ah!
Yeah. She's really giving it her all, guys. This performance is amazing. Runs to her Jeep SUV. The gas
You get those
pump,
beautiful like overhead shots.
yeah,
in the rain
that
of
gas
her.
pump is still in the car, by
She
the way.
takes
She just
off.
takes off. And so now,
Bonnie Tyler's still playing on the radio.
and she's all like, calm down. You're going to be okay. Calm down. You're just scared.
And then the
Little
lightning's
bit
flash.
nervous, listen to the sound.
Turn
around.
Lightning's flashing and you see someone. Every time the lightning flashes, you see more of like an outline of someone in the back
Kind of rising
raising
up.
up. And you're like, oh, girl, turn around, just like the song says.
Just like it's singing, girl, you gotta do it. What are you doing? She sees in her rearview mirror there's somebody behind, and they take an axe and just axe her head off.
And it would have been a great opportunity to see a head flying out the window, but we didn't get that. Instead, we just get the axe breaking the window.
I found that to be interesting when I was listening to, or maybe it was when I can't remember if it was a commentary or if it was one of the special features on our Scream Factory disc, but they chose like to insinuate more of the gore. Even though this has an R rating, they didn't like go over the top, so all you see is that axe with the blood dripping. You don't get to see her head plop off. But I agree. I think that would have been a neat shot because the glass breaks. What if the head just...
Well, and like you had said before off microphone,
Oh, no.
like what a strange choice for the killer to chop her head off while she's driving.
Yeah, like
Full speed.
not
down
at a
the road.
stop. We know it's raining.
Like, what happened? Didn't they get in a really bad wreck?
How brave of... Well, yeah, and we'll bring this up towards
Or
the
she
end.
jump
too.
up the front and like get control of the wheel.
Did she push her foot down on the brake, or something? Who knows? We don't know. I guess it's determined that they live because they keep going on
They
their
keep killing.
rampage. But okay, so she gets decapitated. Next scene is Pendleton University, the coffee shop, kind of like the Union, the cafe area where everybody
And
comes to
isn't
hang
it
out.
supposed to be the same night and maybe just a few minutes after?
Oh, yes, honey. That's what I was just saying. We're going to bring this back up at the end because it's questionable.
Well, let me just say right here, right now, someone sitting there is the killer.
Oh, no! How could it be?
So, how did that killer,
Speed of light?
one, chop someone's head off in a full speeding car and then make it back to campus in like 20 seconds?
I don't
catch
know.
My drift?
I
How can they be there if they're there?
Yeah, I received your drift. I put it. I got it. Okay, good. So yeah, you bring up somebody that we're about to introduce is the killer. We're not going to tell you who it is yet. You got to wait till the end.
Rebecca Gayheart. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I could be lying. So you'll never know till we get to the end.
Oh, gosh.
I
Okay.
kind of also suspect that most people that listen to our podcast have seen these movies, right?
Yeah, well,
if
I'm
not,
hoping
that's fine.
so.
And I hope we give you the experience of seeing these movies.
If we are your first take on one of these movies,
We love it.
then that is balls to the walls, amazing,
Yeah.
crazy. I love it.
Yeah, we love
And then
you.
if you never watch the movie after,
We love you even more.
our crowning achievement right there. Okay, so we're in the little like cafe union at Pendleton's University, and this film was predominantly all of the campus shots were done in Ontario, and it's the same campus that they use for a few other horror movies around the same like 5-year time span. I read that
That's
somewhere. I thought that
funny.
was interesting that like other movies that potentially you see and were also filmed there. One of
feel
them
like-
had Joshua Jackson in it too, was a thing.
Oh, that's funny. Well, was it the Skeleton Key or like?
Yeah,
or
bones or skulls and
skulls
yeah.
and bones or
Yes.
skulls. I think the movie
Yes.
is called Skulls. Yeah.
Yes. Damn it, Queen. Yes. Okay. We were getting there. Okay. So here we are. We're at the university, and a fun little fact is like when the camera kind of zooms in on one of the little flags that has the the university crest.
Yeah, that's sick.
It has the insignia. It's on Latin. It tells you who the killer
it's like the
is.
best friend.
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
The best friend. Or
The
something.
best friend did it.
Yeah.
But it's on Latin, so I
unless
love
you
that.
know Latin.
Mhm.
But if you know Latin, you're sitting there, you might have just gotten a big spoiler and been like,
And that was the whole movie ruined for you, or did you still feel like
You're like,
you...
I'm being punished for being smart, for knowing Latin.
Yeah, you're right. It was a punishment. Okay, so we're in the cafe and we're introduced to a ring of characters. They're sitting around talking about
pretty much everyone we already told you about.
It's they're sitting around talking about their own urban legend at the school, which is the
Hexler Hall or...
Stanley Hall Massacre.
I'm way off Hexler. Where did I get Hexler?
Because one of the professor's names is Wexler.
Wexler, okay.
And you
I
just
turned it to Hexler.
trying to be a bitch. So.
I'm always trying to be a bitch.
use born a bitch, use a bitch. Okay. So it's Parker Riley, played by that Michael Rosenbaum
Yes.
guy. So Parker's telling the story. It's the urban legend takes place 25 years ago, and it's about a campus professor who kind of goes crazy, busts into a dormitory hall, Stanley Hall, and murders all of the first floor
Except
occupants.
from one. There's one survivor.
Only one sole survivor.
One sole survivor. And
It's not Mr. Josh.
we'll tell you who it is later. Yeah, it wasn't me this time.
It wasn't Mr. Josh. That wasn't who it was. Okay, so the other people that are sitting there are our final girl, Natalie, who's played by Alicia Witt, her bestie above the resty, Brenda. Then we've got, they were listening over the radio
To Sasha. But then isn't Sasha there?
She shows up a little bit later.
Okay, because then they're all talking
Yeah.
about like...
But who shows up while they're talking about the urban legend
Jared
is
Leto.
Jared Leto's character, who he's Paul, and he is the school reporter
And
for
he
the
acts
school
like
paper.
a gorgeous outcast. Like
He
he just
does.
stands. He just is
He
always
is.
kind of like put upon.
Well, he is, Josh. I sympathize with him.
I too am a gorgeous outcast.
I am. It's a shame what happens to him in this movie, and I cry every time I see him enter the dean's office.
Oh,
Oh,
that
gosh,
dean is
that
so
dean.
mean to him.
Okay, so, in this moment when he's telling the story about like how the Stanley Hall Massacre happens, we notice that the dynamic between Paul and Parker is they kind of like to one-up each other, and, Paul's like, if you're going to tell the story right, that's really what happened. And the Parker guy's like, that doesn't make any difference to the part of the story that I'm trying to get to.
He's like, we just trying to have fun, dick.
Get out of our bass natch. Brenda and Natalie go ahead and walk to their dormitory.
Well, I thought they
And they go.
Yeah.
And they decide to stop by Stanley Hall.
And they're like, "Why we're here? Let's do Bloody Mary. Because we hear that if you do Bloody Mary at Hexler Hall..." I'm just kidding. I'm saying
At
Hexler.
Hexler Hall.
I have to call it that again.
At Stanley Hall, then
Bye.
your tampon will fall out bloody. Someone will slap you in the face and call you Mary.
They actually don't really say, do they, what will happen?
No.
Or they're like the spirit of something. No, I have no idea. But you get kind of a lame jump scare of Joshua Jackson and his like pubic hair,
Oh my god.
facial hair.
Wait.
And they even call that out too and make fun of his facial hair. But in the commentary on the Screen Factory disc, they talk about how he was only like 19 when they were filming.
You totally made it seem like he exposes his pubic hair.
And it's like pubic hair.
It is like pubic hair. It's like fucking gross. Like shit. And he's like 19.
He's got like his
Like-
frosted blonde tips.
Yes. Oh my god, that sun
Didn't
and
we
hair.
all? Didn't we all have that in 1998, 99?
So we get that little jump scare. I didn't.
I did.
My mom wouldn't let me bleach my hair.
Oh, we would, not only would we use sun in, but we heard like if you used lemon juice and conditioner and mixed it with water in a bottle and then like laid out. And we would do that, but it basically just turned your hair orange. Like,
Oh my god, it was
really.
like a hair urban legend.
A hair urban legend.
Oh my gosh.
You can-
Oh my
you
god, that's crazy.
Oh my god, you can bleach your hair
That's insane.
with lemons and conditioner.
You just take the conditioner and then you just pour the lemon in there and you put it in your hair and next thing you know you're orange. It's just how it works.
Try it.
Try it. You're
You'll
gonna
love
love
it.
it. I swear to God. Oh, you're gonna love it. Do it.
I love when you become like New York-ish. I go ish.
It's a terrible like.
Or is it Boston,
It's-
New England?
It's a ignorant.
my
I don't know
God.
the difference. That's
So,
what it is.
we get
We-
the Joshua Jackson characters set up. What's his name? Brody.
Damon.
Damon. I just fucking it all up today.
That's like not even in this. Oh,
It's not
man.
even close.
It's not. Okay, so Damon, shit. Yeah, so he's kind of a prankster. We get that. He's like, see you guys in class. And then Natalie gets one last little show before she goes to bed.
Oh my god, she opens her door and her roommate, Tosh, is like getting it from behind.
She's played by Danielle Harris in an amazing, like, goth look.
She is going to Pound Town.
Going to
right
bed. She's got her corset on. She has heavy white makeup, black lipstick.
She's like, turn the fucking lights up, bitch.
Yeah, she's getting it doggy style. And Natalie, you're busted. Like, she obviously didn't have the sock on the doorknob. Like, I want to say it's Tosh's fault. Like,
Yeah.
if you're sharing a room and you're getting banged, make sure your roommate doesn't come in
Yeah.
by, like, signaling.
And you know what? If you know your roommate's gonna come, like, spray some air freshener. No one
It's
wants...
like nobody wants to smell that badussy.
No. It's
No.
like... I'm sure you're over there fucking until you smell it, but, like, spray some air freshener so I don't have to, okay?
So when I smell it, you just smell fuck.
I don't know. Anyways, so she's like, oh shit, I'm just gonna go to bed, turn the lights off, put my headphones in, go sleep.
And listen to the music that I eventually will record in studios.
Yeah.
She's now a
plays piano. She's like a singer-songwriter. Alicia
She's
Witt.
singer-songwriter.
She plays piano. Right now during COVID, she's been doing a lot of like concerts and stuff online.
Yes.
So
yes.
follow her on Instagram. You can
She's
check out her show.
amazing. I just think it's funny because like that music is exactly what now she is performing.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of like
Like
breathy,
Earth Girl.
yeah, like just
I'm a vegan.
and I'll lay
And
down
I'm an artist.
see in the clouds of melancholy meadow. It's like that, okay?
Yeah.
So she goes to bed. She wakes up next day and heads to class at Wexler's. It's like a folklore and urban legends class, which I did not I don't know. There's something
why not?
that's so detailed.
You're like, oh, of course.
So is Pendleton known for their, like,
well, he's
studies of...
Mm-hmm. Professor Wexler is world-renowned for folklore, and everyone wants to take his class.
Everybody. It's in a humongous, like...
And, of course, today's lecture
hall
that they're in is, like, spot on to what it needs to be for the movie.
It's like urban legends, and very specifically...
He's out there giving a slideshow talking about urban legends, and here comes prankster Brody Damon. And he does the whole pop rocks and soda thing. Urban legend. You know, apparently if you mix pop rocks and soda, it makes your stomach explode. And apparently, that's what...
I've never tried it because I don't want my stomach to explode.
No, I wouldn't even dare. But he does it, and he fakes it. He acts like he dies on stage.
Oh, yes. And Robert Englund, who is playing Professor Wexler, is giving all these fierce, like, over-the-glasses looks at the performance. Like, he's got This is one of my favorite looks that people do with their glasses, is when they put it at the very tip of their nose.
And they look down.
And then they look over the glasses. And you're like, bitch, what's on your face?
It means they're an intellectual.
It does. It's signaling intellectualism.
They're like, listen, I have these glasses, but sometimes I look over them.
And when I look over them, it is a direct signal that I am much smarter than you are.
I think you're a piece of shit.
And I'm fierce. I'm fierce because they're just on the tip of my nose. They're not falling off. They're just the tip.
He's like, I am a professor. Don't you see my glasses?
This is the professor look right here.
I have them down and I'm looking over them.
And I have my tweed jacket on and my loafers. And I have my 3-button vest.
I am a professor.
Am Professor Wexler. I love that about Robert Englund, though. He is...
We love him. We've met him a few times at conventions, and he's just an angel sent from heaven.
Serving us angel all day long, Robert.
He takes time and talks to everybody. He even drew me a picture.
Mm-hmm. He drew you a wonderful picture.
He's amazing.
He really is. Okay, but after class, the hallways and like the outdoor areas, all the gazebos, the patio areas are just a buzz because the paper's been released. The school paper, which, guys, I went to college. Josh went to college. I barely
don't even know
read.
Who has a school paper? Like, does anybody read it?
I'm trying to think of what, like, UCO's paper was called. Like, was it, like, I don't even know. If you went to the University of Central Oklahoma, you let me know. What is the paper called? Josh, do you remember yours?
No, I don't even
know. Or maybe it was like an emailed newsletter.
Who knows? But people, apparently this is a prestigious school known for its folklore class and for journalism.
Oh, for sure.
Homeboy Justine's daddy, Jared Leto, is very concerned about his career at the school.
Yes.
He's convinced that he doesn't have a career outside the school if it isn't for his career at the school.
I mean, if he doesn't have success while he's an undergrad,
he's never going to have success.
He won't have success outside of college, which I think is a fair assessment.
Yeah, I just love how, exactly.
It's
he's
very
an undergrad,
dramatic,
too. It's not,
But the reason why everybody's going crazy is because Paul has put this big, scandalous kind of like story spread about the recent murder of one of the college students there at Pendleton, Michelle Mancini.
And so this is when Alicia, Natalie, finds out that Mancini died, and then we start getting a connection. You realize, okay, because she knows her.
It's like all in the face right now. She's just acting maybe a little too disconnected from it. Like,
oh my god.
Oh wow, that girl was alive and now she's dead. That's kind of initially how it is, but she also doesn't want to like be disrespectful about it. So when Paul comes over and is like, what do you guys think about my paper, you know, she's like, you shouldn't make light of someone's death. And he's like, I'm the only one reporting on it. It's like everybody else is making light of it because they're not mentioning it. And he's right. And he's right because Reese, the security guard, played
by Loretta Devine.
Loretta Devine, baby angel. she kind of reprimands him in a way, is like, you don't be writing this stuff because we have the top-notch secure campus in America, and I am not going to let that prestigious reputation,
You're like, yeah, the school that apparently has like one cop for however many kids.
Exactly. She's the only security, like, campus police that you see the whole time.
So I'm not convinced about their record.
How safe it is. Exactly.
So is this now she goes home and Tosh is like hooking up with someone online?
Not yet. So next thing you know, we're back at the cafe and everybody's talking about the Michelle Mancini. And
Joshua Jackson's there now. He's hanging out with everybody.
Yeah, and he's letting everybody know he's going on some ski trip and how he thinks that Michelle Mancini girl gives good head, making
he's like, get him,
insensitive
like she lost
jokes.
Her head. I'm a dick.
And Natalie kind of just like, she goes back to her dorm room, and that's where Tosh is, and we see that Tosh likes to kind of be online, and she asks if she can, like, use the phone, because you have to share the phone line with the internet at this time.
Yeah, this is 1998. We're still in dial-up. And so she's like, can I use the phone? And that pisses Tosh off. She's like, it's my phone line, too.
Stomps off. She checks her voicemails, and it's Natalie's mom. Natalie's mom's like, oh, my gosh, did you hear about Michelle? This is tragic. Oh, God.
And then we see, like, flashbacks where she
pulls the yearbook out.
And there she is, like, cheerleaders with me.
They're co-captains of the cheerleading team, and you're like, wait, you know her as in you guys were best fucking friends, knows her.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Why weren't you a little bit more upset?
And so she's, like, going down memory lane when Damon knocks on her dorm door and is like, hey, you want to go, it was like a party or something, you want to go to a party with me? And she's all looking down and sullen.
She's like, no, I'm just really sad.
He's like, well, do you want to go somewhere and talk? I'm a really good listener. I mean, my wiener's really big.
My dick has good ears for listening.
And you can get real close to it if you just put half of it in your mouth.
It'll listen to everything you have to say. So she's like, yeah, that sounds good.
Take me to this weird forested area right outside the university and park your car in it.
And again, it's like, and we get the setup of the urban legend right here of the guy and the girl at a lonely spot in the woods, necking.
And Lover's Lane
on Lover's Lane. One of them has to get out, use the bathroom, and then they hear scratching, and the person inside the car gets scared, and they find out their boyfriend or whatever's hanging.
Yes, and like the feet are dangling on the top
making
of the
scratching.
Yes.
So that's what's about to go in play here. But instead we get Joshua Jackson and Alicia Witt.
And he's like, I'm a really good listener. Tell me, what happened. So she tells him, I knew Michelle Mancini, and like divulges how. And he's like, oh, wow, that's deep. And he's just trying to get her pants. So he's like, I had someone close to me die. It was my girlfriend, but she told me I should go on living, and so I just gotta live my life.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
She ends up punching him because she gets so offended the way he's treating her. And then he's like, well, damn it, I'm gonna go pee.
I gotta pull my wiener out because I wanted to pull my wiener out, but I wanted you to put your mouth on it, but I'll just go put my wiener out there. And
regardless, I gotta get my wiener out, okay? So I'm gonna go.
I'm not gonna feel right if I don't get my wiener out.
She's like, do what you gotta do, okay?
Yeah, pull your wiener out, boo.
You
so
pull it.
He pulls out his wiener, and
in the meantime, he gets someone from behind, chokes him out.
Now, we're just gonna suspend belief at the end, guys, with this reveal and who it is.
Yeah, because somehow some elaborate pulley system with the car over a tree branch. And
essentially dead weight, being hoisted up.
Like, how did she get him over? Like, I don't get it.
So, when I was watching it, I noticed that, like, he gets pulled up because she reveals, so Natalie is sitting in the car. She gets out to try to find Damon, and then instead she kind of gets attacked slightly by the killer. She gets into the car, and she starts to take off, and that pulls him up.
Yeah, it's like starts hanging him.
and starts hanging him, but then, she backs up because something about the killer, she doesn't know that what she's doing is causing Damon
the killer comes up and like stands on the car, kicks the windshield in.
And he's doing that like his feet are dangling, hitting the top of the car, and he's like, Don't go. But she does.
She gotta go.
She gets scared and she drives off and hangs him. And then
Damon dead.
Yeah, and then she ends up like the killer's like at one point on top of the car, bashing in the window. Then the killer falls off the car, gets back up because they're invincible. They're the killer, and Alicia Witty
Witty. She is very witty.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Alicia Witt Natalie runs out into the forest area, goes back to campus, finds the one security guard.
Loretta Devine, she's like, my friend been killed and
he's dead. He's dead. That's what she does. She's really good at being hysterical.
And Loretta Devine's like, bitch, I'm just sitting here watching some old
Foxy Brown.
Leave me alone. And so she has to follow her out there, and of course there's nothing there anymore. And Loretta Devine is in disbelief. It's like, honey, you sure you know what you're talking about?
Are you sure he's not just playing a prank on you because you wouldn't put out? Are you just sure?
I know he wanted to take his wiener out, and you wouldn't let him.
And I just know it because I know all of them, and they love taking their wieners out. Like, if they have a wiener, they take the wiener out, and they show the wiener.
She's like, girl, you didn't let him take the wiener out.
So you didn't let the display of the wiener happen. That's bad news. So you got left here and abandoned, and now you wish he was dead.
You gotta let him take the wiener out.
She's like, are you serious? I'm gonna go to bed, wake up the next morning, not talk about this with anybody else until I meet all my friends in the cafe, and then tell them about...
There's, I have to admit, there's a lot of, like, boring sitting around just talking scenes. Either in the cafe or the character's like, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
Or let's go talk.
There's a lot of exposition.
Oh, that's the one thing about this movie that kills me. There's a lot of, like, let's just talk.
And
let's go look this up in the library.
Yes,
talk.
Then talk and look at the library book and talk, and I get ya. There's a lot of talking.
Not that I'm against dialogue, but it's no joke. A lot of like, can I steal you for a minute? Can we talk?
But Natalie's trying to tell all of the friends, like, this happened to Damon and I last night. But the friends are like, no, he went on his ski trip. That's why you can't get a hold of him. He plays pranks all the time. He has a blow-up doll. No. Gaslight you. Yeah. This didn't happen.
He's fine.
You're fine. He's fine. We're all fine.
He went on a ski trip. You wouldn't let him take the wiener out, so he left and went skiing.
Wiener.
Just makes sense, right?
So Natalie's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna have to, like, go to the library.
She's like, let's go look up stuff.
So she goes and checks out the Encyclopedia of Urban Legends, because that exists.
She has a fun jump scare with Tara Reid.
Yes, who is at the library to check out a Kama Sutra book.
She's
which
like,
is
look at these old illustrations of people having sex. Look at that illustrated penis.
This illustrated penis wiener right here. But what I also like, okay, so she checks out that Encyclopedia of Urban Legends, pulls out the little tab where you used to check your book out and they'd stamp it or write your name, and Damon's name is written in the little index of, like, people that have checked out the book recently,
so
furthering
like,
the, like, oh, is he playing a prank?
Is he not? What the fuck?
We don't know. Okay. So while we're at the library with Natalie, Tosh is IMing some goth guys on the local chat.
She's even specifically like, are there any goth guys on campus looking to hook up?
Who wants to fuck?
Yeah.
I want to fuck.
Must wear dark eyeliner.
You must wear nipple rings.
And powder your face white.
And kind of have the look of the crow about you. Okay, so she's got somebody who wants to hook up with her. She's like, oh, great, tell me your room. And they're kind of teasing her.
She's like, where are you?
Well, I'm going to go get ready. Let me know what room to go to.
Yeah, what room are you in?
But what I love about her going to get ready is she takes, like, her whole shower caddy, her makeup thing, and then walks across the hall, because if it's a dorm, you don't have like your own bathroom, so she walks across the hall to the like shareable bathroom, and then just applies some more black lipstick.
I mean, girl didn't even like powder her puss.
That is not getting ready. And why do you not have like a compact mirror that you can put your lipstick on?
Or even just
you've got your ass up
yeah.
and like went across. Obviously, guys, a lot of it is like situational. We need her to leave so the killer can get in her room.
And so she can come back and see that it says, yours. Like, I'm in your room. And she's like, what?
So much of this.
Up from behind?
Yep. From behind.
Again, she likes it from behind.
Yep. It starts to strangle her in the bed, takes the lights, turns them off, and
Natalie comes in,
and it looks like, you know, some hanky-panky's going on, and she's already learned her lesson.
Yeah, just like before. And Josh told her to leave her the fuck alone, so she's gonna leave her the fuck
sorry,
alone.
Sorry, girl. I interrupted you, and I'm like really sorry. Like, oh my god, I'm super sorry. I'm gonna put my music on now. Good night.
She's like, but Tosh, it doesn't smell like your Badissi.
Wait a sec. Like, yeah, as she's drifting off to sleep, she's like, I smell iron. I don't smell Badissi. Because I say she smells iron because when she wakes up, there's like this pool of blood, and then she looks above her bed, and there's this sign, like this, it written in blood, a note that says, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn the lights on?" And she finds
like,
Tosh with her wrist slit, and which I don't really know how to explain that, because I thought like if you killed somebody and then you cut them that they didn't bleed out.
Well,
or
maybe
maybe
she wasn't completely dead when he choked her.
That's true. That's true. Thanks for that. Thanks
Sure.
so much, God.
I used to be a coroner.
Yes, your days on NCIS are really paying off. Oh man, I love when you just come up with something real quick.
Yeah, I came up with that
really
fast.
They weren't dead.
I came up with that really fast.
So she goes and tells the one security person that Pendleton University can afford. And next thing you know,
I do have to stop and tell everybody that we are getting on Highway 69 right now.
Shit! Hell yeah! Sexy time!
Oh, God.
Oh, well, that was
It's
not
starting
sexy.
to a rough start on this Highway 69.
69 just damn near put me out of commission.
It's trying to, like, fuck our tires up.
It's trying to be like, girl,
Oh my
you're
God.
not gonna
Highway
walk
69,
straight.
take care of our sound booth.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, we go now.
Oh, are we?
I don't know. Guys,
I've been
the
walking.
transition from Interstate 40 to Highway 69 was not a smooth transition.
No, it's gonna have me walking side to side for a while.
Anyways.
Okay, so
We didn't get 69, we got fucked just then.
that's
Damn.
right. Oh,
Damn.
speaking of, so she goes and tells adults, "Hey, Tasha's dead in my room, and the reason why I didn't think she was being murdered is because one time I walked in on her having sex, and so I didn't turn the lights on, and now there's this note." And the dean and Reese, the security guard, that's all we get all the time. The adults are those two people.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, well, guess what? She committed suicide. Her her wrists were slit."
Yeah.
She's like, "Wait, what?"
Well,
She wrote the note of it. Like, yeah, it's a morbid kind of suicide note. It's crazy. Go with it, okay? Like,
just, we don't want to do any extra work.
it's Friday.
God, the paperwork involved,
It's
girl.
about to be the weekend. I'm really just.
She's like, there's a Foxy Brown marathon on.
Oh gosh. Foxy Brown, I do love that she's sitting there. There is a scene where Reese, the security guard, is kind of like line by line saying the Foxy Brown. Pam Greer's like.
It was the last scene when Natalie runs in on her, like, help.
She's like, "Oh my gosh," got her gun out. It's hilarious. Okay, so Paul's waiting outside the dorm room because he wants to catch Natalie, see if she'll say anything about Tosh / check on her, but no, mainly the first point. He's always like trying to hunt for the story.
And Natalie's like just very sad, very like, everybody I know's dying.
And no one will believe me when I tell them that this is how I just naturally look when I'm crying.
And I get why people maybe don't like Natalie that much. She's a little melancholy. She's a little bit serious.
She's always just like this. Like, not even not crying. It's in the middle. It's when you... It's always like this. Why? Okay.
Oh, Natalie.
I'm hurting my own voice. Where are we at in this movie? This movie is crazy.
There's just so much.
Yeah.
Okay, Tosh. Tosh just died.
Tosh just died.
To everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, now which scene of them talking
it's like
we going
Paul and Natalie. She finally is like, okay, let me tell you a little bit about like why I think that these are urban legends, because accidentally, I might have accidentally killed somebody accidentally using an urban legend, but just accidentally.
We were just playing a trick and they killed themselves, kind of like they
got
pricked out.
It was almost like they committed suicide, but they didn't, because I accidentally killed them.
We ran them off the road.
Accident.
But it was an accident.
It's totally an accident.
I mean, it was more their fault.
Yeah. Okay, so they hit the library for the evidence of Stanley Hall massacre, and they can't find any newspaper clippings, and so they're like, "Fuck that! We're gonna figure this thing out." And they happen upon the janitor while they're leaving the library, and they're like, "Hey, janitor guy, how long have you worked here?" And he's like, forever. Like, just real vague. And they're like, "Okay, can you tell us about the Stanley Hall massacre?" He's like, "No, but you should go see Wexler."
Yeah.
So that's what they do.
Wexler.
They go see Wexler. He's not there, so they do what anybody else would do and wait for his office hours to begin.
Mm-hmm.
They bust into his office.
They bust and they're like, "We're gonna find clues." And
they find the same jacket that the killer wears.
That's a popular jacket apparently in this college town.
It is. And the jacket is black, but it has fur trim around it. It's like a big
parka, with the fur trim.
And they wear like black pants, black steel-toed boots, and the reason why there was a jacket is that they were going to place this in wintertime.
Yeah, it was really going to be in the snow.
They just didn't have the budget. Even though they had like a $14 million budget, which was nicer sized for horror movies being churned out at that time. Okay, so we've got them, and they're like, "Oh, we're in Wexler's office. Oh, there's a hidden room in Wexler's office. Like, he has a hidden room."
So he's the professor that got the hidden office in his room. Or the hidden room in his office.
And so they go in there, they find an axe. It's completely cleaned, but of course, we know it looks like the axe from the killings.
That must also be a popular axe.
In the meantime, while all these killings are happening, we do get news references. Like, we see news reporters who are talking about the Michelle Mancini murder and how they have apprehended the gas station attendant.
And you're like, "Oh, it wasn't him."
And so, like, I think that is, again, another reason why there aren't too many authorities involved, because they thought that they had gotten the killer, and so...
They think it's all isolated.
Yeah, like Tosh and Michelle have nothing to do with each other because that guy's already been caught, and it looks like she killed herself. And we can't find the Damon guy, but he said he was on vacation at some ski resort, so it's before cell phones, guys. It makes sense.
Or there were cell phones, but they weren't as popular.
Yeah, it makes sense because you have to... Well, we're all assuming that Pendleton is very isolated, and they do make it seem like it's surrounded by a lot of woods, forests areas. There's a big river and stuff, so... Anywho, so they get in trouble for breaking into the office because Professor Wexler catches them and was like, "Okay, you're going to the dean." And the dean takes Paul off the paper and is like, "I can't believe we didn't realize that you have a criminal record." And
she's like, "Oops.
Oops, sorry." So, again, there's just a lot of...
There's so much just minutia, I feel like, in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of build up to this, like, frat party that gets mentioned at the beginning, but, that doesn't take place until the end, or towards the end, the same night that everything else kind of goes down, and we're not even in that day yet. Like, there's other hunts that are going to happen, but... So the dean, next thing you know, Natalie goes to the pool to find Brenda, who's on the swim team.
And this is one of those things that just doesn't make sense. It's like middle of the day, Brenda's swimming, and in comes somebody with that parker, or what did I go?
It's like a jacket parka,
yeah,
you're fine. The fur trim.
And you're like, why are they coming? One, because the movie's not set in winter anymore, so you're kind of like, why is this person wearing full-on parka with fur coming into the swimming pool?
And every indoor swimming pool I've ever been in is kind of humid, and like, why would you wear a jacket in there? So just one of those, like, for the sake of having a scary moment, because we realize that the movie's quite boring right now, we're gonna throw this in.
And so you get this moment of tension. We're like, oh my god, the killer is gonna get Brenda. And then Natalie sees it and is freaking out, and she breaks a window. There's a lot of just like freaking out, breaking windows.
Yeah.
She tries to break a window to get Brenda's attention, and then the person takes the hood off, and it's just a girl getting ready to go swimming with her boots on.
Yeah, I didn't
and
understand.
long black pants and
strange.
Huge heavy coat.
But she has her swimsuit on too. It's just strange. Okay, but this was the build up to Natalie telling Brenda about why she's been acting the way she has been, because she actually did know the Michelle girl, and they killed somebody and ran him off the road using the highway gang initiative.
If you flash somebody that doesn't have their
high beams on,
or like their lights on at all,
yeah,
they'll turn around and try to run you off the road. It's apparently like a gang initiation or something.
And Brenda's just like, oh wow, okay, that's crazy. Bye. Like, there's not a lot in that reveal. It's just kind of a wasted scene.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl.
Sorry, that's a lot. You got a lot on your shoulders. Bye.
But now we're at the party, right?
Almost. The dean dies. This is a good one.
This is a good
hold
scene.
on. Yeah, this is a good one. So the dean is telling Reese, the security guard, hey, I'm about to leave to go to whatever place I live. I won't be here all weekend. Don't you dare call the parents or the police. Everything is fine. That Damon kid is off just skiing. You just hunker down. I'm seeing you goodbye. And then he gets his Achilles cut.
Or we get a parking garage scene. Nothing good ever happens in a parking garage in a horror movie, right?
Yeah, that is the place for shit to go down.
So as he's about to get into his car, he gets his Achilles tendon like sliced open.
Slit!
Immediately just starts bleeding everywhere, and he's, disabled.
Yes.
And is crawling, trying to get away. The killer turns the car on and
the release brake,
releases the brake, because I guess it's going down a hill.
Or or maybe it's like a stick shift. I know you always have to put the brake on for a stick shift. But, and he gets caught on the, tire spikes in a parking garage. You don't ever back up. It'll, give you a flat tire.
Well, so, pops his ass.
Pops his ass. Bam, bitch. I like this scene because that's slicing of the Achilles, that's such a visceral,
It's one of the most gruesome kills in the movie, because like you said earlier, the director went out of his way not to show a lot.
Yeah, so to see this is... Owie mowie!
And it's very homage-y to Pet Sematary.
Yes.
Which is great.
This film is just kind of chock full of little, we wanted to tip our hats here, we want to tip our hats there. Tipper gore,
Tipper
what?
hat?
And I do also like that scene because it has a cool moment where the killer comes out from under the car real swiftly, and I don't know what it is about that movement that I have this little goosebumps on the back of my neck, ooh, that's scary.
He's like,
slithering
I'm very
out.
agile. I was under the car and I got out fast.
And I'm fast.
I sliced your ankle open, bitch.
Bitch. Paul finds a little love letter from the janitor that is
We're on the loudest roads. By the
we
way.
are. I'm trying to talk over the roads, guys. So I apologize if it's
windy
a little...
and we're in construction zones. Are bump 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 bump.
Crazy.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Paul's sorry too.
It can't be helped.
He just takes the newspaper clipping he gets from the janitor that proves that Professor Wexler, that the Stanley Hall the Stanley Hall massacre is real, and that Professor Wexler is the sole survivor of it, and that's why he has a job at the university, because he's got to keep his mouth shut because he's a bitch.
And they are going to have their massacre party.
Yep, so Paul races to the massacre party and is like, oh my god, that's like a perfect place for him to just have a rampage. I gotta go tell everybody. And Natalie's there, so he tells Natalie, and they have like a moment where they're sitting on this like staircase and making eyes at each other, and they kiss. But Brenda's been liking on Paul through the whole movie,
she gets in her feels.
Yeah, she even like has mentioned it several times to Natalie, like, Paul's blue eyes are gorgeous, and I can't wait to sit on his face, and things like that.
Yeah,
so
she said all that.
All those things were said, and so she is crying on outside somewhere. We see her
She's
leave.
Like, you're gonna sit on his face, and I'm not gonna get to sit on his face.
Like, why don't I ever get to sit on someone's face? It's always you.
And so they talk, and she's like, you know what, you're right.
And she goes out and cries, and Parker, the guy that told the urban legend at the beginning, I feel like we haven't talked about him a lot, but that Michael Rosenbaum guy.
Yes.
So he's like the frat guy, and he loves his dog, Hootie, and he's been taking him around the party, like giving him beer, bong shots and stuff. It's ridiculous. But he gets a phone call that's very reminiscent of Scream. It's like, you're next, basically.
But doesn't Sasha happen first?
No.
Because Natalie leaves before Michael Rosenbaum is about to have his situation, right? Because I thought Natalie hears Sasha on the radio, like, starting to get attacked.
Yeah, okay. So those things happen literally back to back. So Sasha leaves to go to the party, and then he gets the phone call that he's good. Like, Sasha leaves to go to the radio station, and then Parker gets the phone call, or no, Paul shows up, tells him, like, you gotta break the party up, there's a killer on the loose, and
then Natalie hears on the radio, like, Sasha starting to get, like, she hears her scream.
Yes,
right?
she gets attacked at the radio station by the killer.
That's a great
And that is, like, one of the only, like, true kind of, like, chase sequences that we have, where she runs through a large amount of the radio complex, and she has her headset on and her mic pack, so
yeah, it's a fun setup, because first she has her back against the window, and you see her, like, the engineer in the radio station, like, getting killed behind her, and she turns around and it's all black. She's like, hello. Then she goes up to the window, that's separating her from the engineer, and all of a sudden there's the killer, and he breaks through with that axe and starts chasing her around.
Yep, and Natalie, in the nick of time, shows up just to see her get axed. Like, she sees
after a really good chase scene, like, they're running up and down, she's dropping from things, she's taking the elevator back up. It really is the best kind of really suspense scene in the film.
And Tara Reid did her own stunts for it too, which is kind of neat.
And she made sure her titties did their own stunts too.
Right. Yes. She had on, like,
every bounce is hers.
Every bounce is hers, yeah. And she had on, like, those kind of, like, stiletto-looking boots. So she was running in some high heels and selling us them screams. And she's broadcasting them on the radio. Like, everybody, Reese is in her cop car driving around, and she can hear Sasha dying. And anyway, so Sasha dies, and then that Parker guy gets a call from the killer, and he's like, oh, I know this one. You're trying to tell me that the killer's coming from the house, and the call's coming from inside the house. And he's like, nope, this is the one where the lady microwaves her wet dog. And he runs to the microwave, and it's a payoff.
It's gnarly, yeah. You get the point of view from inside the microwave at first, and you don't get, like, it's not too graphic, but you see, like, guts and just nastiness and blood.
Yeah.
But then the camera quickly, like, goes out of the microwave.
It's like out of the microwave, and into his face, and he's all pissed, and he's screaming. He runs upstairs like he's gonna vomit in the toilet, and then the killer, very quickly getting from the radio station to his place, jumps out of the closet or the shower. I can't remember.
It sticks like one of those snake things.
Yeah, like Drano. Yeah. Drano pipes, like if you're in the bathroom and you need to, like, unclog your drain.
Yeah, it's not like a snake, is that what they call it?
Yes, pours Pop Rocks and
yeah.
Drano, and he dies on the toilet. And I don't actually know what that's from. what urban legend that is, unless the Pop Rocks was supposed to be
yeah, because they tie him up. He wakes up, and then the guy shoves the thing, or the guy,
the killer. Yeah, the killer. The killer kills again. Yeah,
the killer kills him.
Killer kills him. Killer's going on quite a rampage.
Guys, he was killed by the killer.
Killed by the killer. The dean, who is dead, is found by. Oh wait, no. Yes, she finds that blood where the dean had been, but then she also finds Sasha. She's called the police, but then there's this big thunderstorm that happens conveniently, and so the power gets knocked out, and 911 services, they can't come out because there's so many other calls going on, which is another just classic 911 horror movie move.
Yeah, like, sorry, all the lines are down.
It's like strange in a way. I've never, thankfully, that's never happened to anybody that I know. They call 911 and...
When I lived in L.A., I had to call 911 one time after a car accident, and you have to wait on hold sometimes in L.A. Like, legit wait on hold for 911 in L.A.
That makes sense. There's a lot of people there.
Maybe not like, sorry, the power lines are down, not able to get into 911.
We're not going to come out at all. You've reported dead bodies, but we can't make it.
Sorry, we're blocked off. Power lines.
So Natalie and Paul, they find Brenda, who's like, oh, where have you guys been? Like, I've been doing this, and you've been doing that. Okay, let's go find help. And they're in Paul's car, and Natalie keeps like saying like, it smells in here. It smells weird. They go to a gas station to call for help, and it's when Paul goes into the gas station that they have like a little heart-to-heart of like, look, if you like him, you can have him.
You can sit on his face.
That's okay. Like, I can get my pussy rubbed elsewhere. Wait,
she's like, damn it, I swear.
Smells like pussy in here, girl.
Like rotting puss.
Wait,
where's
that smell coming from?
I think it's coming from the back of the car. Let's go and look.
I think we should get out. Let's look.
Let's get out and look.
And then they reveal, like, under some sheet, or not sheet, blanket, that it's Professor Wexler.
And so now they're like, oh shit, Paul is a murderer, because we have a dead man in the back of Paul's car. So they just take off for it, and Paul sees them. There's like, that moment where they look at each other through
the glass.
He's inside paying and stuff, and they just book it. And
they're both running again through this wooded area right by the university so they can get back to campus. And we hear Brenda screaming. They get split up. Then we hear Paul, and we're like, oh no, something must have happened to Brenda. Natalie runs her ass right into the road, and there's this truck that pulls up, and it's the janitor, and she's like, oh my gosh, take me back to campus. And then she sees the parka jacket in his truck, so she's like trying to get out.
And that's what I mean. It's a popular coat.
It's like, very popular.
Everyone is wearing it.
I think literally it's the only jacket that's sold in the area.
The killer wears it.
Yes.
The
swimsuit girl, Wexler,
and then now the janitor all have the same coat.
Oh, you betcha. That at least shows you that...
Must have been on sale like at Old Navy that
I was just about to say, shows you there must have been a sale at Ross, but oh man. We're like on the same wavelength. Okay, so anyways, she's in the truck with the janitor, and the janitor's like, what the hell? And she's like, just let me out. Oh my God, let me out. She can't get the door open because child locks, and then they see a car. It's Paul's car.
And it doesn't have the lights on.
And he's like, let me signal to them. And she's like, no!
But it's too late. He flashes his high beams at them. And that car whips around. She's like, shit, it's the killer.
Oh, no! And Killer does what Killer does. Runs
them off the road. On this very narrow bridge. Is this where the car... Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, that's later.
But it's an embankment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a guardrail involved. But
later is the bridge.
Yes, the bridge is later. But yeah, there is a embankment with a guardrail. And anyways, the janitor guy dies. But of course, Natalie survives. She gets out of the truck, and then she's super close to campus. She finds a security call box that a lot of campuses have. And is trying to get a hold of somebody. But the the busy signal's happening because of the power situation.
The power lines are down, guys.
And it's then that she hears this screaming coming from Stanley Hall, because that's where the call box is right next to Stanley Hall. Oh my gosh.
And you know what? The storm doesn't seem that bad. I mean, it's raining a lot. It doesn't even seem like there's high winds, or I'm not even seeing that much lightning. Like, why are lines down?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Town can't handle rain.
Pendle Town can't handle Pendle rain on Pendleton. Apparently. Pendle apparently. The girl, so she hears the screams, and she's like, oh, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to save Brenda. And climbs through some open window. It's all boarded up, but she fits her ass through some window area, and she's going up the floors to like the second or third floor. She's like going in rooms and rooms and rooms. And then all of a sudden bodies start falling out. There's Damon and his dead body.
Pretty much everybody that has been killed in this movie is now has been put in some kind of position for Natalie to stumble upon.
And I'm like, is that where the killer's been?
It's like an elaborate art installation.
It's great. I would before I murder you, please take a look at my accomplishments.
You didn't die in vain. You will become a work of art.
And then the House of Wax starts, and we just go. Okay, so, all right, she gets into this room that's very candlelit. It's there's draperies and candles and a bed in the middle, and there's Brenda, and she looks like she's passed out. She looks like she's been tied up to the bedposts, and Natalie goes to her bedside and is having this crying face moment.
Oh, my friends.
But Brenda rises up.
It's so creepy till she rises up behind you. She's like,
she has these buggy eyes and the
smiling,
sinister stare, like the smile. It's just like, yeah.
And she punches her out. Knocks her the fuck out.
Like, this girl has a fucking Mortal Kombat punch.
Yeah, she's like KO'd.
Damn. So then it's the flip. When she gains consciousness, Natalie is the one that's tied up to the bedpost, and Brenda is there, and she's like, haven't you figured it out, you dumb bitch?
I'm a fucking murderer. She's like, my big hair made me do it.
Let me tell you, I brought you a visual. And she busts out this like slideshow.
Yeah, she set up like dead bodies like an art installation. She has a slideshow ready to go. This girl did her work. She deserves to get away with it.
I really don't know where she found the time too, because how are you putting all of these dead bodies in there?
And on top of studying.
Yeah, she had
all her
finals.
work in on time. This girl's an overachiever. I hope she gets a lot of good scholarships to graduate school.
Yeah.
She's going places.
She is going places. She's going straight to prison, hopefully.
She's not even gonna murder someone without making a report about it and putting on a whole project.
And she has her best plans.
Her public speaking skills are on point.
Oh yeah, she does have the best killer monologue ever. Going on the little tirade of why she is murdering everybody. Do you want to reveal it, Josh?
It was her boyfriend, the love of her life.
We were gonna get married.
We were gonna get married.
Graduated high school.
We were 17.
Oh God!
The love of my life. You killed him, Natalie.
How dare you?
You killed him.
We were gonna be a family.
So there you go. The guy that she ran off the road is Brenda's boyfriend. Brenda's dead boyfriend.
Brenda's very dead, deceased boyfriend. So let's get this straight, guys. Brenda murdered multiple friends, the dean, the professor, and
because she was mad at Natalie.
All of that. Because Natalie, as a 17-year-old, played a game she shouldn't have, and the result was a loss of life. So one life equals
5.
At least.
Yeah.
A lot. A doggy too.
She did the math right.
She killed a doggy too.
Yeah,
that's the worst.
That's kind of unforgivable.
Yeah, you can't come back. At least for me,
a couple douchey frat guys, whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's
an adorable little
bound to
dog
happen.
in a microwave. Fuck
he
you,
was
Brenda.
so cute. And I wish I could, like, the breed is not coming to my mind, but it kind of reminds me of like a little schnauzer.
A little terrier or something.
Yeah, like, oh my God, loves a terrier. God loves a terrier. Yes, he does.
If you've seen Best in Show, you got that. If not,
That was just a waste of 5 seconds for you then. Okay, so Brenda saved the best for last, and she would like Natalie to be the UL, the urban legend of the kidney heist.
At this point, we're going into like Act 5 or
It's
something of this
insane.
movie.
Yeah, I think at this point, like if you pause it, you're an hour and like 45 minutes in, so you're like, shit, there's still 15 minutes after this? Yes, because it gets real drawn out. There's 2 interruptions. First, Reese, the security guard, busts in.
She gets shot.
Yeah, Brenda's
after
like
a tussle.
sliced Natalie a couple of times with a scalpel.
She's like, we're gonna do the kidney.
And
was it the kidney
heist. I already said it.
Oh, you already said that?
Yeah, I just said.
Guys, did she say heist?
Yes, I did.
I don't believe you.
Anyways, so she, so Brenda's slicing her up, and thankfully, we have Reese, the single security guard of the entire campus of Pendleton University, who comes in and is like, "Oh hell no, no you're not. You ain't gonna do that," and saves her.
Yeah.
Then we have kind of this tussle.
She gets
There's
shot.
a gun. Uh-oh, it's not Brenda that gets shot. It's Reese.
It's Reese, yeah.
And then
She gets shot.
right when you think, oh God, okay, so Brenda gets the gun from Reese, and then she's pointing it at Natalie. So we're okay, I guess Natalie's gonna get shot. And then Paul shows up, and Paul pulls this stunt where he's like, "Oh my gosh, Brenda, that was so good. If you let me in on all this, I can make a story out of it, and we can be famous." And Brenda's like, "Oh my God, like you're super cute. I'd totally like to suck your dick, but
Oh.
Paul, but no, because my boyfriend I was gonna get married
The
to.
boyfriend.
My boyfriend." So Paul's lies don't work, and luckily though, Reese came to while Paul was talking to Brenda
And she's like, "Oh, you bitch."
and stabs her, and then Brenda drops the gun, and Natalie gets the gun, and Natalie shoots Brenda out the window. We kind of get a little bit of an homage to Halloween, because
Yeah, she's down on the ground.
down on the ground, and then it's Reese and Paul and Natalie, and they're like, okay, let's split up and go try to find help. So now we have Paul and Natalie back in Paul's car trying to go get help, but somehow Brenda shows up in the car.
But first, Natalie has her like weird
Oh my God.
introspective moment.
Yes.
She's like, this will become an urban legend too,
And you were there, and you were there, and you were there, Anna, and you were there. It was a weird, like,
Everything will
Dorothy
change.
moment.
They'll say you were like a cop or something.
Yeah.
I will be like a whore. And like
So and so will turn into a mouse, and then I'll sit on him and put him up my pussy, and then they'll be running around in my intestines for forever.
Till they come out in my mouth.
So yeah, she's having this weird, like you said, introspective moment, and like trying to kind of put her own spin on what their urban legend will be when Brenda rises up from the backseat of the car, tries to behead Paul, but he runs them into the guardrail, ejects Brenda out of the windshield into the river.
It's crazy. Like she like goes out that windshield like so gracefully. It would have been like a 10 if this was like a
swim.
dive.
Yeah, well, she was on the swim team,
That's
Josh.
right. She was on the swim. That's okay.
That
there
makes
you go.
perfect sense on why
Yep.
she ends up surviving
must
this
have
and shows up.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that all happens. She gets ejected. She gets into the river, and we get this,
Yeah.
and then a voiceover happens, and it's a narrator it cuts to him and his friends in the cafe, and he's been telling this story the whole time to everybody else about the urban legend. It's a different university, and he's like, what, you guys don't believe me? And Brenda shows up.
She's like, no, let me tell you the real story, guys.
You're getting it all wrong. I know what really happened.
She's like, I don't have curly hair anymore, so no one recognizes me.
And I'm wearing a scarf around my neck. And all of you guys look like you're 45, but you're playing 21-year-olds.
They all look really weird.
They all look...
Canadian.
Oh my gosh! You're hilarious!
I'm sorry, you guys just look weird. I'm just kidding. We love Canadians.
Yeah,
Fucking love Canadians.
Yeah, we're not discriminating.
actually.
I love Canadian. My best friend's a Canadian. Wait, you're not Canadian.
Nev Campbell. She's our
That's
best
right.
friend.
She is my best friend. She's coming to my wedding of me and Jared Leto.
That's right.
So, anyways, so that was a lot to unpack, guys.
Oh my God, so much in this movie.
And I feel like we did a pretty faithful.
I hope you got it all.
Yeah, retelling of the movie. We just tried to bypass a couple of conversations that weren't really completely necessary, but other than that, that's the movie. We have maybe 40 minutes or less before we're there.
No, we have like another more than that.
Oh, okay. Well,
more than that.
yeah, I mean, okay. So we got a while.
Yeah.
We're almost there. Whatever. We'll see you guys in 2 seconds.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Hang tight.
And we're back.
Hello.
We feel like we are speeding away from the scene of a crime right now.
I mean, it's hella creepy out here.
We're getting a little spooked, so we finally left. Didn't see anything.
Well, I mean, we saw a lot. We just didn't see the floating orbs.
Saw a lot of cars passing by. We saw people cooking meth.
Well, we did not. We saw what we would presume are meth houses.
Meth labs.
Some meth labs,
sure.
yeah. And, okay, so Peoria takes quite a while to actually, like, it is, like, up in the nook cranny of the state line. We got to go, because when we arrived, the sun was saying it was really picturesque. We had, like...
Yeah, tonight we had to... Sunset wasn't until, what, 8? 8:05
close to,
or something?
it was like 7... Well, it said on the phone 7:55, but really, honestly, it was, like, past 8 when it got, like, dark. So, and we hung out there for quite a while. But when we first arrived, the sun hadn't set yet, so we went ahead and filled up gas and went to a gas station, but we had to drive on the state line.
Yeah, we were literally going back and forth in between Oklahoma and Texas. Our phone, because our GPS, Missouri, I mean, our phone was saying, like, welcome to Oklahoma, welcome to Missouri. 2 minutes later, we'd be back to welcome to Missouri, Oklahoma. It was kind of fun. But yeah, we ended up filling up gas in Missouri and then came back across the line into Oklahoma tonight.
In Oklahoma tonight.
Sit and wait for the Spook Light, but we did not see any war heroes or star-crossed lovers.
No, nobody walking around without a head. No decapitated soldiers.
The lights did not want to come out for us. We got on Instagram Live tonight. You can get on and check that out if you want to see. We're on what's really sad is we were on for like a good 10 minutes. We had a lot of fun, and then we realized it didn't. It recorded, but it didn't save.
Yeah.
Our settings were.
So it
So we updated our settings, and then we got back on. And some of you out there, they'll recommend like we play music to try to get the energy going, to get the.
Well, we certainly did. We were playing some like new wave music and dancing.
Dancing out in the middle of nowhere in the dark.
I'm still getting my groove on.
And then we finally were just sitting in the car, and we just kind of creeped ourselves out. We're like, okay, let's go. We honestly were more scared of like some of the characters in town that we kept seeing and were driving by us, and
like so all the descriptions of like where this place is and like how to find it comes off as like super secluded, and I'm not saying that it wasn't secluded, but it certainly didn't seem isolated while we were there. We were on that strip. It's like a 4-mile strip that you can drive back and forth on to try to see these like floating orbs. But there was like tons of people driving, so it made it kind of difficult to see.
And you are really close to Interstate 44. So it's like maybe people nowadays are seeing headlights. I'm not sure.
Yeah, when's the last time that we have like a good, solid story?
And now it seems too like it's pretty heavy trafficked because of like a nearby casino that's right over the Missouri-Oklahoma border. Here in Oklahoma, we have a lot of Native American
owned casinos,
and so by all the borders, there's casinos because people want to come over to the casinos in Oklahoma. So there's a lot of just a lot of traffic going by us on this really tiny road.
Well, yeah, what was kind of like described as like a road in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, it was the kind of directions to get there that was like exit interstate, blah blah blah, go 4 miles, take a right on Farm Road 10. I mean, we were going down some like creepy gravel roads, and it's like turn right on, we were really having to follow step by step. They weren't GPS directions. And then after all that, like there was still a lot of cars kind of driving through at points.
But we hung out there for over an hour.
It was still fun.
And
like I felt like we at least went and experienced a local legend.
Yes, like we've done it. We can check that off our list of, we're always trying to hit up unique, obscure things in our own state.
Yeah.
So
you guys might remember, was it Magnetic Hill or Gravity Hill? I can't remember the name of it. We did that. That was our Lord of Illusion episode.
Yes.
That's another, and that's kind of what it is.
Springer? Is that where we went?
Springer, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and that's kind of an optical illusion.
So we've got some urban legends that we're trying to check off our list, but we decided to cover the movie Urban Legend this time.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Oh, let's dive right
Justine,
in.
favorite scenes,
Oh.
final thoughts.
Oh, okay. So me, I go. I
go.
swear it was your turn, but okay, I'll go first. So my fave scene would have to be the boyfriend dying. Well, not even boyfriend, but Damon dying.
Brody.
Joshua Jackson's character dying by hanging, out there in the woods with Alicia Witt's character, Natalie, and the killer. And that whole setup, it's very suspenseful and it's scary. Even though the killer themselves doesn't always necessarily in this movie scare me, there are a bunch of buildups and I'm like, oh, that got me on the seat of my pants. And this one holds
on the seat
up.
of your what?
On my pants, my penis, where my pants. But this one holds up, and I knew of this urban legend, so I liked seeing it on the screen.
Yeah, this episode is Justine's idea.
This is my idea?
Oh, this.
What?
Okay, I'm confusing myself.
You're
Never
getting
mind.
out.
I thought I was giving you credit to our trip, not
Well,
to
go ahead,
not
but-
the movie that was made.
It's like,
I'm like,
okay.
yeah, guys, Justine made this movie. It's all because of her. It's her idea.
But yeah. So
No,
I
know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm back,
I do want
I'm
to
back
cover
on
it.
track.
And so, anyways, I like this movie, but I have known of this urban legend. So I remember even when as young kids, teens, seeing this movie, enjoying it, being like, ooh, I knew of this one, and knowing the babysitter call, the pop rocks. It's just like you get to see these go on the screen and they take a certain form, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, that's so scary, and the killer's like kicking in the window as she's like hanging her boyfriend, I keep saying boyfriend, but that's not her boyfriend. She punched him in the face.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
There's a lot of good suspense in that scene. I like how it's lit in the woods. It's that classic kind of 90s cinematography where everything is lit and colorful. Even
It's
at
all
night,
lit.
it's all blues. And
Is all lit.
It's all lit.
I like when
man.
she runs, she gets Reese, they come back, and it's like everything's gone. That
So
kind of
spooky.
just setting it up for like, oh no, she's going to be on an island basically, and nobody's going to believe her. So get at it, boy.
And that's always scary too, being like the only person that knows what's happening, and no one believes you, and
or they just kind of like maybe it's not even necessarily that they don't believe you as much as they're just like, no, that can't be happening.
There's just
like,
a claustrophobic quality to it. Also, kind of like nowhere to go. No one believes me. I don't know how to solve this problem because everyone thinks I'm lying or making things up. And
I'm over here
that's
crying.
just as scary too, because you're dealing with two situations. In this case, she just saw someone get attacked, and she was attacked, and now the police officer doesn't believe her. It's like, wow.
Oh my God, that's like real heavy. Like how you
Wow.
described that was like the heaviest.
Wow.
How about you tell me and describe to me your favorite scene, Josh?
Oh, I think you guys know what I'm gonna say.
Yes.
Soul Survivor here loves a good chase scene. So I gotta go with Sasha. I just have to. I know
Tara
that's
Reid is great.
kind of predictable. I was very close to maybe picking the dog in the microwave. Because that's the most, honestly, like, unsettling moment in the movie.
And you think, like, is he really going to go there?
Yeah,
like,
and then they go there.
Yeah.
So I think that is the most, like, gotcha moment. Where you're like, no, there's no way they really put the dog in the microwave. And then the dog's in the microwave.
Gross!
But ultimately, I gotta go with my heart, my farts, and I gotta pick Sasha in that chase scene. I love how it's, like, going up and down this really, like, modern building. She's hanging from things, dropping, running. You know, getting into elevators, and ultimately
running for her life.
Yeah, and while a guy in a parka is wielding an axe,
and the fact that it's being broadcast, like people are listeing to her, and her friends running to get to her. And
yes, I love those shots of
she's
Natalie running in the rain, like
Sasha.
And then she sees Sasha get axed, 40 whacks.
It's tragic.
When she saw what she had done, she
gave
went and
somebody else 41.
Somebody else.
Somebody won.
Who'd she kill next?
More.
So, but yeah, I gotta go with that. That's the best chase in the movie. And there's some other great moments. Like we love the moment when the Dean gets his ankle slit.
That's such a good,
That's
like,
fun.
just like
there's some good
reaction moment. Like you can feel yourself. You want to like tuck yourself in. That one hurts a little bit. I love the opening scene because I love, she's singing "Turn Around," and you're like, oh come on, this is
like turn around, girl,
sweetheart,
girl,
honey, girl, child. Precious.
There's someone in your back seat, girl.
You better turn. Shit, she ain't gonna turn around. Oh no. I do enjoy quite a few of the kills, the way that they are carried out. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of clunkiness.
There's the 2-hour runtime, pretty much. There's like the 5-act structure of the movie where it just feels like it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
I do love Rebecca Gayheart as the killer. I don't have a problem with her.
Yeah,
she's fun. She's over the top. She's zany. I always kind of felt like Emma Roberts in Scream 4 took a lot. I feel like Rebecca Gayheart walked so Emma Roberts could run in Scream 4. But I love her wild curly hair.
Oh yeah, she just gets kind of mad and manic.
She just
and
goes crazy.
great.
I love that. But then it just keeps going on. You think she's dead, then she comes back
she
alive.
Has,
There's this fight
her Michael
in the car.
Myers moment. Like she just gets up and just keeps going.
They're
and
fighting in the car.
She's very resilient. Yeah.
Then there's just too much exposition. There's too much, like we said earlier.
Hey,
like,
can we talk about this?
Can we talk? Can we
Aside.
talk? Can I pull you aside and talk? Can we go look in the library?
Hey, do you know about this?
It's almost kind of what I don't like about Scream 3 is it gets into too much of like the
solving
like the whole Scooby-Doo. Like here we're getting, instead of it just being about the mystery and the scares, because you can have mystery without it necessarily being it can be a whodunit without it being like a Forensic Files episode.
Yes, yeah. It's like when you're just trying to make your characters solve the crime instead of just like, oh my gosh, speculate that everybody is involved in it.
In real life, people aren't doing that.
No.
No,
well,
you're like on a Netflix show on getting on MySpace, tricking people into and solving.
Like believing that you're.
What was the name of that show we just watched?
Why Did You Kill Me?
Why'd You Kill Me?
Yes.
Yeah, we watched that before we left today. That was good.
Goodness, that was so good. Yeah, check that out on
Netflix.
We were talking about that while we were sitting out there. And just tonight was spooky, guys. It was creepy. And like by the time the sun went down, all of a sudden the real forest sounds started to come out.
It got creepy fast, yo.
We were listening to new wave music on Sirius XM.
It's Saturday Safety Dance.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So you know that it was just getting to a point where we felt irrationally unsafe. There probably really wasn't any, it was just spooky. I wish we could have seen the Spook Lights.
Because they do dark rock or whatever once it
Yes.
gets late or two on Saturdays. What's it called? What do they call that segment on New Wave channel? It hasn't come on yet.
Dark Wave?
Yeah, Dark Wave, yeah.
Yeah, they don't do it every night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, back to the movie. We went on a Netflix tangent,
What in
a
the
Sirius
world?
XM
Okay,
tangent.
yeah. Love Rebecca Gayheart. Baby sweetheart, baby angel daddy, zaddy man, Jared Leto. My sugar baby honey pie.
Oh.
My one and only.
So
I kind of like, he's kind of like a final boy. I know.
No, he's no soul survivor.
Oh, I didn't say he was a soul survivor because there's other people that survived. So
he's no Ash.
no,
Okay.
don't come for me
No,
when you're not sent for.
I'm loving the Leto. I'm letting you have your Leto.
I'm loving a Leto.
Yeah,
Well.
this movie's a lot of fun. It's not. In retrospect, it's not It's not my favorite from the late '90s. It's not one of my least favorites either. I'm diving into knife ratings.
Oh, you're diving in?
I'm diving in. We love to dive here.
Yeah.
We say. I'm going. Oh God.
Do I need to give the rating?
go
okay,
first.
I'm gonna give it 3 knives.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's just like there's too much that it doesn't necessarily need to be in there that doesn't serve the plot. There's specifically like there's a scene where they're like at the swimming pool, and
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's about. And we've even
So stupid.
talked about how like who the hell wears that entire outfit to go into the swimming pool?
Well, even the director says
And-
that's one moment in the movie he can't defend.
Yeah, like
It's
what
that
was
moment.
happening there? So there's that.
He said it was kind of a way to maybe throw you off Rebecca Gayheart because she's the one in the pool, and it ends up not being the killer. So of course it can still be Rebecca Gayheart.
But then again, like we can even talk
Yeah,
about that.
that's
The
the-
fact that like Rebecca Gayheart, how was she everywhere?
yeah,
Because the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
How did she get there to the
then,
cafe?
and then back.
Yeah.
The movie gets bogged down in its own like minutia. Like it has too many weird little moments like that, and then there's so much, of the like. Let's just sit here and talk about it. It loses a little bit of the fun of the urban legends. They could have really kept. They could have punched that up a little more, even though there's some great ones in there. But just kind of like, I don't know.
There could have been more finessing.
A little streamlined, a little more.
Yeah.
It's a little too clunky at the end. It really needs to shave off like that last part, like the last 10 minutes or so.
But she
that
does seem
ending.
superhuman. She somehow goes to the party, murders people while she's at the party, crying, and then she puts all of those murdered people in the house, and she's running away from.
And I don't even mind the last shot where Rebecca Gayheart's there, like telling the story. Like, no, because then
It's
it's
really how it goes.
Honestly, it could be played both ways. Like, oh, is that Brenda? She survived and she's telling people the story. Or it could be like the whole time we've been listening to a story. And maybe this is Brenda, but in a different context, like the real Brenda, and she's going to tell the real story. Or, you know what I mean? It could be played a lot of different ways. But I think it's definitely trying to hint at the fact that like everything we watched was an urban legend in itself.
That there's an urban legend about people dying by urban legends. Yeah.
So
I
it's
follow you
fun.
there, yeah.
But I'm gonna go and and again, I like this movie, and this was one of my favorites growing up. But I'm gonna go 2.5.
Oh, okay. I
was struggling between 2.5 and 3 the whole time. So
okay.
since you went 3, I'm like, I'll go low.
You went low, so I could go high.
So you could go. Yes.
I enjoy so much though all the little nods.
Yeah, I'm so close to giving it a 3.
You know, the fact that we have Robert Englund in it and
Daniel Harris and Brad Dourif.
Yeah, and
no, you're almost convincing me to go 3.
How there's so many things that are referential.
Okay, I'm going 3. 3 knives.
It plays so well too.
Okay, you're right. Just the fact that they're in it and have some fun, I'll go 3. But if they weren't in it, it would totally be a 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, I even love how, like, the characters, the name, like, Michelle Mancini, you know, like, they just, again, want to give another nod, and I love that. Thank you! Thank you!
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fun to the movie, but that's my main complaint. I just wish it was a little tighter, a little shorter, a little tighter.
A little toy. A little just kind of like wrapped up in a neat little bow.
Wrapped up in a little toy.
Little bow. Okay.
Yes, that's what I wish.
You want to get toy?
So 2 3s, almost a 2.5, but last minute I went 3 because I'm easily swayed.
Wow,
let's talk about
fun.
Next episode.
Yeah, let's talk about next
fast.
episode, Josh. Because I feel like we need to go like on a little shopping trip.
Yeah, we are now fully vaxxed.
Yes, fully vaccinated.
And we want to go shopping. Or should I say we want to go shopping?
We want to go shopping at the Mall
of America. Not just any mall. The fucking Mall of America. We're driving to Minnesota.
We're going into Minneapolis.
Yes, we're staying downtown Minneapolis. We're going
to the Mall of America.
Mall of America, and we're going to cover Chopping Mall.
Yeah, we'll do like the rides inside. We're going to have some eats, some treats, some fun. Cover
really
Chopping
excited.
Mall.
We're doing just like a fun extended weekend in Minnesota.
It's going to be a blast.
Mall of America. Stay tuned for that. But in the meanwhile, please go wherever you listen to us, rate and review us. Give us that 5 stars.
5.
Write like a few little lines about how much you love us, because we love you.
4, 5.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube should be back to condition soon. Check us out if you haven't watched on YouTube.
On our IG,
there's really nothing. The only difference really on YouTube is you might see towards the end some of our vacation photos, but you can also see those on Instagram as well.
Our little TikTok videos.
Yeah, follow us on all the platforms.
Oh, we're there. Hunt us down.
So yeah, stay tuned, guys.
We can't wait to cover our next episode. And in the meantime, love ya!
Bye!